The Overwatch League Grand Finals is just a few days away as it's taking place this Friday in New York City, and I could not be more excited, mostly because the two lowest seeds in the playoffs ended up making it to the finals. That being, of course, Philadelphia Fusion and the London Spitfire. So, I thought before we get to Friday or even the Thursday before the game, I'd sit down and give you guys my predictions as to how I think this series is going to go and who I think is going to end up winning the whole thing. And I know a lot of people think that London Spitfire is probably going to win this without too much of a contest, but I disagree. I think these teams match up very well with one another. So without wasting any more time, we're going to get things started here. So I guess we'll start things off by comparing the two teams' rosters so we can see who holds a bigger advantage overall. So when we first look at the tank line, it's clear that London Spitfire has the advantage because Gesture and Fury have looked like the best tank duo in the playoffs easily. And when you compare them to guys like Sato and then Poco/Hoppa, it's clear that they're better, but don't get me wrong. The Fusion definitely have good tanks. They have looked very strong in the playoffs as well, so I definitely think they'll give the Spitfire tanks a run for their money, but I can't go against Gesture and Fury. They've been both playing just out of their minds, especially Fury. He's never dying, he's eating up ultimates, he's getting a bunch of kills, he's just an absolute monster. Then when we move on to DPS, this is where things get a little bit interesting because I think both teams have a DPS that is better than the other. Like, I think Carpe is clearly the superior player over Birdring. I know Birdring's really good, but Carpe is just a god. I've never seen someone carry a team so hard in my life. But then when we look at EQO and Prophet, Prophet's probably the better player there. And not just probably, he is the better player, definitely, in my opinion. Carpe is definitely the better Widowmaker over Birdring. I think he's just superior at all the DPS heroes over him. But then Prophet, it's the exact opposite when you compare him and EQO. Prophet has the clear advantage over him. He's a better Hanzo. Of course, EQO is very good at that hero as well, but Prophet definitely is better. Very consistent. He can play all the projectile heroes at a high level just like EQO. So, yeah, the DPS battle I think is going to be a big-time deciding factor in who ends up winning this series. Then when we head on over to the supports and compare them, just like the DPS, it's very split as to who has the advantage because I think that the Fusion have the better overall main support in Neptuno, who I think is the second best, maybe even the best Mercy in the league right now. He definitely has the advantage over Nuss, although Nuss has been playing better lately, but I still give the edge to Neptuno there. But then on the other hand, I think Badoshin's definitely a better support player than Boombox. Boombox is very good. I love him a lot. He's looked very good on the Roadhog and the Zen. But Badoshin's looked even better in my opinion. So when you add all of that up, the Spitfire do have the advantage. The Fusion have the advantage in a couple of positions, but overall the Spitfire have the advantage in more. So I'd say Spitfire probably have the better team. But does that mean the Spitfire are going to win? Well, not necessarily. They definitely have the advantage coming into this thing, but the Spitfire have already proved the world wrong by destroying New York Excelsior in just 2 matches. They didn't even need the third. That's something we can't overlook. They outplayed New York Excel. I know this hasn't been a very good meta for New York. They didn't look all too strong in the playoffs, but still, the Fusion beat them. That's no easy feat. This is the best team in the league record-wise. I have this gut feeling that this series will be extremely tight. And I mean, I think every single map will be an absolute bloodbath. And every single match is probably going to end up going all the way to that decisive map 5. That's the type of feeling I'm getting from this series. Those are the vibes. Even though London Spitfire have the clear roster advantage and they've just looked better overall in the playoffs, I still think this is going to be a tight series. The Fusion just have that underdog mentality where they just won't go away. So, who do I think is going to win the Grand Finals? Well, my brain's telling me London Spitfire. That's the obvious choice here. They have the clear advantage in multiple places because they have the better roster and they've just looked better in the playoffs. This meta seems to suit them very well. But my heart says Philly Fusion, and that's who I'm going with. I think the number 6 seed, the ultimate underdog, Philly Fusion, is going to prove all of their doubters wrong once again and defeat the London Spitfire 2 wins to 1. Call me crazy if you want, but I've already underestimated the Fusion one too many times in the New York series because I thought there was no way in hell that Fusion would beat New York. I thought New York was going to win this series 2-0 easily. Like, it wouldn't have even been close. And even when the Fusion went up 1-0 in the series, I still doubted them. I still thought the Excel were going to stomp them to the ground and win the series. I'm done doubting these guys. They've proved to me that they have that true underdog mentality where they just won't go away. It's not something they're going to do. Even when they're clearly at a disadvantage against a superior team, they're going to go out there and find a way to win. And I seriously think that's going to happen again against the Spitfire. I'm really not sure if advantages and disadvantages will mean much in the series due to the fact that we've seen all of those things kind of go out the window in previous playoff series, like with the Spitfire and Gladiators for an example. Spitfire, just for some reason, weren't able to beat them. They lost in stage 2, 3, and 4 to them, and then they lost the first playoff series against them, but then all of a sudden they figured something out, and that was it, and they beat them 2 times in a row. And when you look at the Fusion and the Spitfire head-to-head, well, the Spitfire won the first 2 meetings, but then in the Stage 2 playoffs, the Fusion beat them, and then they beat them again in Stage 3 and again in Stage 4. So technically, Fusion had the advantage 3 wins to 2 against the Spitfire, which proves that these teams match up very well with one another. But that could be all thrown away here because we're in a different meta. The playoffs have just been so much different from the regular season. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm very excited. And now, with that being said, I think I'm just about ready to wrap things up here. So, if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and enable notifications so you don't miss when the next video goes up. Also, I'd very much appreciate it if you could give this video a like, as it tells me you want to see more Overwatch League content here on the channel. Also, feel free to let me know who you think will win the grand finals in the comment section. Let's get some discussions going. Do you agree with me, or do you think London Spitfire is going to win? Let me know all the details. Thank you all so much for watching, and until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. See ya!